A listener's note. The following episode was originally scheduled for release on the 27th of December 2024. Due to unexpected delays, it's now coming to you a little late. Enjoy the ride. Okay, I have come to realize that in this life, we all have a lot in common. At the core of it all, we just want to love and be loved. Even those who hate themselves, they love that they hate themselves. It's strange, isn't it? How love, this messy, complicated, beautiful thing, seems to be what ties all of us together, even when we don't fully understand it. And yes, it's also the one thing that feels so hard to hold on to. It slips through your fingers when you think you've got it. It hides in the faces of strangers. Sometimes, it waits in places you never thought to look. That's what 2024 felt like for me. A search for something I couldn't quite name, but I knew I needed. Maybe you felt it too. There's a road I've been walking all year. It's the road of reflection, of memory. And now, as the year comes to an end, I want to take you there with me. It's not a physical road. No downfall will take you there. No Okada will find it. This is a road in the mind, a path lit by the soft glow of moments that made us laugh, cry, and grow. If you're listening to this podcast right now, I want you to try this with me. It may not make sense at first, but you will understand later. If you are standing or walking or doing something else, stop. Close your eyes. You spend so much time walking and doing that you do not have time to think. Allow me help you think for a moment. Close your eyes. Totally. Breathe in. Breathe out. Do it from your belly, not from your chest. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Allow yourself to think. With your eyes closed, think about January 1st, 2024. It was a Monday. Think about how you spent that Monday. Think about 3:45 p.m. on that Monday. What do you see? Who do you hear? Don't open your eyes yet, just hold on and think. Let me help you. We all did the same thing, don't worry. I remember what you did because I did it too. You were home, sitting on your couch, thinking about 2023 and how fast it went. You were happy to see 2024, but you were confused about life. And then you heard knockouts and banger. You didn't throw any, but you heard them loud, very loud. You called a couple of friends and told people Happy New Year with a fake big smile. Oh, I did it too. We are all guilty. But do you remember 3:45 p.m. that day? Well, I do. I was sitting in my bed, watching this movie on Netflix about a couple that loved each other so much the community got jealous, but inside their house, they would beat each other to the point where they would bleed. I was enjoying the plot, but was confused because I noticed that the lady who was acting as the wife to the man always wore a yellow dress. And I understand subtext and symbols, but why yellow? Then I started thinking about the ladies I liked in 2024, and I realized that 7 out of 8 of them had something to do with yellow. Cinderella, dressed in yellow, went upstairs to kiss a fellow. By mistake, she kissed a snake. Do you see a snake? Are you still closing your eyes? Stay focused. Yes, I remember now. I had a date in March 2024 with this lady I met on Twitter, and we went to a restaurant. The lady kept saying she was on her period. I never asked her, and then she got up and said she was stained. I took off my jacket. It was a black jacket, and I gave it to her. Her dress was yellow. The lady I liked in February had a yellow profile picture, and then my last date told me she didn't like dark guys and wouldn't date me because I was dark skinned and not yellow. Okay, I'm not even dark. I am chocolate, but you get my point. Have you ever been trapped in an elevator with someone who is blind? Well, I have. It happened in June, and I had to see for two people. She wasn't as scared as I was, but she was scared too. The funny thing is, she was wearing a yellow dress as well. The air around us was shifting and she was losing her voice. I was screaming too, but for a different reason. Her breath was stinking and I was dying inside and outside. I checked my wristwatch and the time was moving backwards. I closed my eyes to think about my life and then I saw myself on a boat. Somewhere I didn't even know. But I could still tell it was Nigeria because there was this loud, annoying Fuji music coming from a distance. I am enjoying the water. I looked around and then I noticed that everyone around me has a partner. A lady was there with this guy, a guy was there with another guy, and a young lady had an old man massaging her waist. Some were kissing, making out, or even eating from the same plate. I was the only one without a partner. Until I found this lady in a yellow dress. She walks up to me and places her hands on my face and says, "Open your eyes." And just when I did, I saw the most beautiful woman my eyes have ever seen. "Sorry, are you single?" I ask her. She looks at me with a smile and says, "Yes." She moves closer to me. She wants to kiss me. I bend my...
Edgar! Please come and help me put on my gen. The thing is doing pa again, no?
Oh, CheckMates, I'm so sorry. CheckMates, I am so sorry. My neighbor has decided that I am the compound generator technician. 1 second, please. Don't go anywhere. Let me just help her, okay? Please, do not go anywhere. And now, just before I go, please open your eyes. If you have not opened it, thank you. Today's episode is titled Single Me Out. Now, this is the final episode of 2024. We'll be reviewing the year and all that happened to us. Now, 2024 in 24 minutes or more. The good, the bad, and the ugly.
Edgar, I'm waiting for you.
I'm coming, ma.
Honestly, why does she always speak now to call me for her gen matters when I am recording? Like, why can't she just call her husband? I'm tired of this house.
Every time we just be calling someone to come and do something I don't want to do.
Check. This is a Check Edgar production. A Check Edgar production. This is for the single guys and the single ladies. Edgar doesn't lie. Why am I? Why am I still single? Still single. Why am I still?
I want a wife and a family. This kind of life is not right for me. I told my guys how things can be. When I fall in love, I fall for real. I know you want me, don't waste my time. I want a girl that is set and fine. I'm going crazy, so please be mine. God, please, why?
Okay, it's the last day of the year. Finally, we're saying goodbye to this amazing year, 2024. What a year. If you were to describe 2024 in one word, what would it be? Epic, good, boring, loving? What word best describes 2024 for you? Mine would be unpredictable. Yes, unpredictable. You know, the kind of year where you wake up every day not knowing whether to laugh, cry, or even question your life choices. This year felt like that twist in a Nollywood movie where you think the hero has finally won, but then bam, a ghost shows up claiming the house belongs to their ancestors. You can't even predict what is coming next. But if I'm being honest, that's what made it beautiful too. From moments of pure joy to unexpected heartbreaks to learning how to love myself just a little more. This year gave me everything. The highs, the lows, and the completely ridiculous in between. And now, here we are at the finish line, looking back at everything that happened. So, what's your word for 2024? While you think about it, let's talk about mine. Unpredictable. Let me try and share everything that happened to me in 2024. But before we dive in, for those of you tuning in for the very first time, welcome. Let me quickly catch you up on what you have missed. My name is Edgar Ariaka, or Check Edgar, if you like a little bit of spice. I am proudly Edo, proudly Nigerian. And if I say so myself, a handsome young man. I'm educated, spiritually grounded, rich in potential, and sometimes in my dreams. And every now and then, a hopeless romantic. But here's the twist. I have been single, not for 6 months, not even for a year. No, my people, I have been single since 2018, 6 years and counting. In all this time, I have been searching. Oh, how I have searched. I have gone on blind dates where I questioned my eyesight. I have tried dating apps that made me rethink technology. I've asked friends to hook me up, attended church programs, hoping for divine intervention, and still, here I am. Every Friday, I come here to share my experiences, the highs, the lows, and the outright absurdity of my love life. And if you're listening to this podcast right now, it means one thing. I am still single. Because my people, the podcast ends the day she says, I do. So please help me, pray for me, introduce me to your friends, send their numbers, their Instagram profiles, anything, date me, marry me, help me focus on something else, and finally live happily ever after. Ha! Is it that hard? Is it that hard? Alright guys, now when we come back, I'll take you through everything that happened to me in 2024, starting with my ambitious and slightly unrealistic New Year resolutions. Trust me, you don't want to miss this one. Now, you can grab a drink, whether it's wine, soda, zobo, palm wine, or even if it's sachet water. Whatever you can afford, guys. And let's wrap up this year the Edgar way, with laughter, stories, and a little reflection. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Promo.
Tired of waking up in the morning to a lonely bed? Has your pillow been giving you the silent treatment? Are you tired of rewatching old romantic movies, wondering when it would finally be your turn to fall in love while walking in the rain hand in hand with your soulmate? Well, we have absolutely nothing to solve your problem. In fact, I'm here to offer you nothing. No miracle cure, no magic potion, nothing, not even a free t-shirt. Just the smooth, buttery sound of my voice. But if you have a business, a product, or even a secret family recipe for jollof rice that you think the world needs to know about, here is your chance. Until I get real sponsors and actual products, you will have to endure these silly ads. But you can change that. Yes, you can be the hero of this podcast by sponsoring an episode. Send me an email to edgar@checkedgar.com if you want to hear your business being advertised in the smoothest, most handsomely voiced way possible. Until then, well, brace yourself. Checkmates, this is what you get.
Alright, let's dive in. 2024 began like every other year, with a sense of hope and determination. You know that feeling, new year, new me. I had my resolutions lined up. I was ready to conquer the world, or at least my tiny corner of it. I took my notebook, which acted like my diary for like 2 weeks, and wrote down all my goals for the year, 10 of them. The first goal, to build 3 startups in 2024. 3! Let me tell you, I did not even build half of one. Every startup idea I had refused to start. First I thought, let me build a gifting company. By the time I saw the cost of building an e-commerce website, I gifted myself the realization that I wasn't ready. Then I came up with another brilliant idea. A website where people can just be buying tickets for any event in Nigeria. That one didn't even live past 2 days. Everything made perfect sense in my head until it came time to implement. Maybe I should have just started small, but no. My big head liked big things. And big things needed big budgets. My second resolution: to save to save 30 million naira by the end of the year. 30 million. Now, looking back now, I don't know what kind of optimism or delulu that led me to write that down. Maybe I meant 3 million, because when I checked my savings yesterday, hey, I had to pause and thank God that I still have my life. Honestly, if you see me outside, please just slide 5,000 naira inside my pockets. I beg you. In 2024, I spent money like I was printing it. Savings, I did not even save one kobo. 30 million. What was I even thinking? Now, my third goal: to get married. Now let me confess, I put this goal on my list every year with faith. I know I'm not engaged. I know I am not dating. In fact, I haven't even found the one. But like they say, what God cannot do does not exist. And I trust my God. Did I get married in 2024? No. Will I add it to my next year's list? Absolutely. Do I have sense? Clearly not. But does my God perform miracles? Yes, he does. So fingers crossed for 2025. Now, my fourth goal was to build a consistent daily prayer life. And honestly, looking back, I think I did okay. Definitely better than 2023, when my prayers were limited to, Lord, please bless this food, and God, protect me from bad vibes. In 2024, I actually read the Bible and prayed a lot. So if you are considering dating me, just know this: I enjoy discussing the Bible and I love to pray. So if you're not into that, I beg, just shift. Don't waste my time. I beg, shift. Now, the fifth goal. Was to change my circle of friends. Exactly. You see my guys, Fela and Noel, I strongly believe that they are the reasons I am not moving forward in life. I wanted new friends, preferably those in politics or tech, people discussing investments, startups, or global trends. But did I change my circle? Not at all. This one was a complete failure. Can you imagine? Those two even had plans to cut me off this year. The audacity. Useless people. Instead of elevating our conversations to politics, tech, or even how to build wealth, we spent the whole year recycling the same tired topics about women and, well, let's just leave it there. So yeah, this goal is certified disaster. Especially that fella. The only circle he knows is Gold Circle. Now, my sixth goal was downright hilarious. I wrote, no Gary or soda this year. God, I laugh in Swahili because that same night, yes, January 1st, I drank Gary, and the very next day, I had Fanta. The funniest part was that every month I'll tell myself, okay, you know what, next month, no more soda, no more Gary. But this morning, as I speak to you, I have had a cold bottle of Coke. In fact, my fridge is still fully stocked with soda drinks. So clearly, my love for Gary and soda has no boundaries. My cousin would always complain,
Uncle Edgar, you take too much sugar.
But I cannot help it, my dear. Sweet things attract sweet things.
Now, the seventh goal was to finally start my podcast. Why am I still single? And I am thrilled to say that this one was a win. I originally came up with the idea in 2020, but I kept stalling because it didn't just feel perfect. You know how we all like to delay our own progress with unnecessary overthinking. I need a mic, I need a studio, who will edit it, will people like it, can I be consistent? It wasn't until August 2024 when my manager practically forced me to release the first episode. Then it finally came to life. Guys, let me tell you something important. Get someone who truly believes in you, someone who pushes you to succeed, even when you don't feel ready. Because honestly, that kind of support is priceless. Also, if you want to start something like this, let me know in the comments and I'll help you. We all have stories to tell, and creating a podcast is a beautiful medium for self-expression. Now, back to my goals for the year 2024. The 8th goal: eat 3 times a day. I'm sure the angels were just laughing when I wrote this one down. Honestly, I can count the number of days I had breakfast, lunch, and dinner this year. It's not even up to 20. Most days, it's either breakfast with no lunch or dinner, or lunch and dinner with no breakfast. And sometimes, I'll just go on what I call hunger strike. But to make it spiritual, I'll not throw in a little prayer, so that God will think I'm fasting and just bless me. I don't have sense, I know. If you manage to eat 3 full meals every day this year, please drop your address in the comments. I want to be your friend. Clearly, you are living a more balanced life than I am. Now, the 9th goal was ambitious. Spend only 200,000 naira monthly. If you live in Lagos as a bachelor with a car, you already know that this is practically impossible. Fueling alone will drain you, and buying food will finish the rest. And let's not forget the dates. Do you know how many dates I went on this year? Like close to 15, if not 20. And for most of them, I didn't spend anything less than 20k per outing. Now, for those of you opening your mouths to say, 20 dates, isn't that too much? Well, you can't blame a desperate young man like me. Our people have a saying: because the lizard shakes his head doesn't mean everything is alright. Only I can explain how it is doing me. So in summary, this goal, complete failure. Lagos said no budget for you. Finally, the 10th goal was to sleep by 10 p.m. and wake up by 5 a.m. every morning. This one was a struggle early in the year. My nights were chaotic and my mornings were just vibes. But later in the year, when I got a job with TVC as a presenter on Wake Up Nigeria, everything changed. It's a morning live show, so I had no choice but to adjust routine by 4 or so. These days it lights out by 9 p.m. and then my alarm comes up by 5 a.m. So sometimes a job is the ultimate accountability partner. So looking back, out of my 10 goals for 2024, I can confidently say I nailed maybe 2.5, if I'm being generous. But you know what? That's okay. Life is all about growth. And sometimes growth looks like failing spectacularly, learning the lessons, and trying again. As I sit here reflecting, I realize that these goals weren't just things to tick off a list. They were hopes, dreams, and a little bit of comedy. And while I may not have eaten 3 square meals daily or stuck to a 200,000 naira budget, I lived, I experienced, I laughed, I struggled, I loved. And that, my friends, is what truly matters. Now, let's move to the exciting part. Since this is a relationship podcast, let's talk about the women I had something to do with this year. Okay, so in January, my friend Nicholas tried to play matchmaker. He introduced me to an app called Bigo. Now, I know some of you know Bigo. He said it was full of amazing girls and that I would definitely find someone to fall in love with there. I was so excited. Quick, I downloaded the app and started using it. At first, it seemed like a great idea. There were lots of people to meet and it felt like anything was possible. But soon, I realized that the reality was far from what I expected. Most of the girls I chatted with there weren't interested in getting to know me. They either wanted money or were only there for hookups. No matter how genuine I tried to be, they assumed I had only one thing in my mind: getting into their pants. It was disappointing. I wanted something real, but every conversation felt like a dead end. By the end of the month, I gave up on Bigo. No dates, no connections. Just a lesson that finding love isn't as easy as downloading an app. By the way, I made good money from that show, Sha. good money. Now in February, I met Ada. It was at a friend's wedding. And let me tell you, Ada was a force of nature. She was a stepper, and when she danced, you could tell she was fully in the moment. Ada reminded me of Tolu, one of the ladies I dated earlier on in my life. Now, the energy she had was undeniable. It was Noel, one of my close friends, who forced me to try and dance with her. And of course, I did. You know those weddings where the DJ is on fire and the food keeps coming? And that was the star of the show for me. She had this smile that could just light up the entire venue. We danced and exchanged numbers. And for the next 2 weeks, we were inseparable. We talked every day. It felt natural, easy, and like something could really come out of it. But then, just like that, she vanished. Gone. No warning, no explanation, nothing. I still don't know what happened. Now, my best guess is that one day, during one of our chats, I jokingly called her fat. It was a joke. It was a joke. But maybe it didn't land the way I thought. Maybe she didn't find it funny. And that's why she cut me off. If that's her reason, then I'm super disappointed because I didn't mean it in any bad way. I just wish she had told me instead of disappearing. Anyway, Sha. In March, I met Fola Shade, or Shade for short. She seemed like the perfect package. Intelligent, beautiful, and driven. We bonded over our mutual love for books. At the time, I was working from a local workstation because the national grid kept collapsing like they were under spiritual attack. Shade was a sweet person, and you could tell she was brilliant, sharp, insightful, and ambitious. But there was a catch. Shade had too many rules. No calls after 9 p.m, no texting during work hours, and no discussing about certain topics. It felt like I was just walking on eggshells with every conversation. Everything was a sensitive subject to her. And don't even get me started on my sense of humor. She didn't get it at all. The final straw, though, was when she said she didn't like video calls or voice notes. She only wanted us to just text. It felt like being in a strict boarding school relationship than anything else. As much as I liked her, I knew that this was never going to work. I didn't want to spend my time adhering to an ever-growing list of rules. So eventually, I had to let that go. I also met Mary, yes. The lady I talked about that I went on a date with, only for her to go home because she was stained. Yes. She went home with my jacket and she has not returned it till today. Like, I really love that jacket. Mary, I did not dash you the jacket, oh, please. Please reply my WhatsApp message and send me my jacket, I beg. Then in April, Noel introduced me to his friend, Chinelo. Hey, Chinelo was a firecracker, fun, full of energy, and always ready to try something new. Honestly, she was a great person. But there was a major problem. She wanted to settle down ASAP. We went out 3 times that month, and each time she kept talking about our future kids and what we would name them. She even asked me how I felt about naming our kids after Bible characters. I liked her, but it was just too much, like too soon. I needed more time to really get to know her, but it felt like she was already planning our future without even knowing who I truly was. Then one day she just sent me a message saying, "It doesn't seem like you are ready for me. I'm going to give you some time to think about us." Since then, I haven't heard from her. No messages, no call, nothing. Honestly, CM, I guess that was for the best, but it just left me feeling a bit confused. And then there was Sarah. This one was from Facebook. She told me she was my junior in secondary school and that she always had a crush on me since college. At first, it was flattering, but things took a weird turn. Once I started trying to build something for myself, she turned me into her personal ATM. The amount of money she asked for was so ridiculous. She would say, Edgar, can you send me 3,650 naira? 2,450 naira? 5,100 naira? Like, why can't you just ask for a whole figure? And the numbers didn't even make sense half of the time. It felt like I was just being used, and I wasn't about to let that happen. So I had to delete her from my life before she completely ruined it. It was exhausting. At this point, I was starting to question if I was even cut out for the whole dating thing. In that same April, there was Amaka, my long-time Instagram crush. I will not say her handle so that you guys are not going to toast her. After chatting with her for over a year, we finally met in real life. Let me tell you, if you ever fall in love with someone online, please ask them to send you their pictures without makeup or filter. Amaka's pictures and her life were filtered, too filtered. Everything felt off, and the chemistry was just non-existent. The day I saw her in person, Jesus, it was a big no at first sight. And to top it off, she told me she didn't like me when she saw me in person too. She said I looked shorter and that I was too skinny. I just laughed, like, look at this person, look at someone I'm even trying to help. I quickly crushed the crush the moment our date ended. I even unfollowed the girl that she's calling me short. Nonsense. May was a different story. Ruth and I connected through a mutual friend, Stanley. And at first, everything seemed fine. She was spiritual, which I admired, but then things started to get a little too spiritual for my liking. On our second date, she told me,
The spirit told me you'll buy me an iPhone 15.
I was just sitting there thinking, how would the spirit tell me to buy you something I cannot even buy for myself? Me that I am using iPhone 15 minus 3, am I a piglet? But it didn't stop there. By our third date in July, she prophesied that the spirit told her we would have twins by 2025. I had to hit the brakes quickly before I became the subject of her next prophetic vision. I told Ruth to leave me and find her square roots. The spirit said this, the spirit said that. What spirits? Is it jinn or methylated spirits? Now in June, I met Kemi. Kemi was a sweet girl. But man, she was way too emotional. Any little thing would set her off. I bought her a bag that month after she said her love language was gifts. The moment I gave her the bag, she started crying about how no one has ever bought her a bag before. We were watching a movie the other day, and next thing I noticed, Kemi was crying because she could feel the pain of the lady who died in the film. Like, okay, I get it, but what's going on here? Why are you always crying? Then we went out to buy suya. As soon as she bit into a piece of the meat, she started crying again. This time because she hasn't had suya in years. Like girl, you cry for everything. When I told her that she cried a lot, she denied it, shouted at me, and then she went into the room to cry. If the tears are endless, go and donate them to African Magic now. Why are you wasting tears? Now, in July, I didn't go on any dates. Why? Because I broke my back and needed some serious medical attention. I was stuck in physiotherapy and spent most of my time in the hospital than I did anything else. At some point, I was crushing on my doctor. I just thought she looked really young, but she wasn't. She told me she got married a few years ago and she already even had a daughter. Quick, I just killed the love I have for her with cutlass. Kia. Now, speaking of daughters, let me drop this juicy gist that happened to me in August, just weeks before I kicked off my podcast. It's one of those stories that makes you shake your head and wonder what's really going on in this world of relationships. I met Ugo, and man, I fell for her. She was everything, clean and smart, and she genuinely liked my content and the way I lived my life. The crazy part was that she was the only lady who actually paid for our dates. Like, she wouldn't let me spend a dime on her. She treated me like I was her baby, taking care of everything. But then, I found out that she had a baby. At first, she denied it over and over again. I didn't even want to believe it. But the truth was staring in my face. Eventually, she couldn't deny it anymore. She begged me to date her despite having a child. But the thing is, I just couldn't. It wasn't about her baby. It was about where I was in life and what I was ready for. So we just stopped talking and just went our separate ways. You know, it's one of those situations where you realize that sometimes love isn't enough, no matter how much you care for someone. In September, I met Blessing, and honestly, I don't even know if I should call her a blessing or a curse. We met at a fashion show, and I was immediately struck by her elegance. She was stunning, no doubt about it. But when we went out on our first date, it quickly became clear that the date wasn't really about me. Blessing kept talking about how she was going to be the biggest fashion creator next year. But that was just the beginning. Instead of focusing on the date, she spent the entire time taking selfies, editing videos, and snapping everything in sight. She took pictures of the restaurant, her dress, the food, the cab ride, and even the driver. At some point, I ended up holding her ring light for her while she took another shot. Yes, she brought ring light to our date. This girl did not even allow me to talk about myself. She had so much to say that I didn't really matter. Instead, I was her personal photographer. I'm not going to lie, guys, it was awkward and it ended quickly. I wasn't a match. Now, this might just bust your brain, but trust me, it really happened. In October, I went on 8 different dates. Yes, 8. I'd received so many requests from my checkmates through this podcast, and I thought, why not? Let me see what happens. But don't worry, I'll be sharing the details of those dates in other episodes. Trust me, you won't want to miss those. If you want to go on a date with me, please just let me know in the comments or send a mail to edgar@checkedgar.com. Now, in November, I did not even go on any dates at all. November was a very tough period for me as well. Now, before you think this year was all heartbreak and disappointment, there were also some bright spots in December. There was Halima. Yes, a soft-spoken writer who reminded me what it felt like to be truly seen and understood. We didn't work out romantically, but we're still good friends, and I genuinely value that connection. Wait, how can I forget Queen Josephine? Hey, the lady fella introduced me to sometime in June or July. Now let me tell you, this girl was on a whole other level. She was so obsessed with turning every conversation into something sexual. Each time we spoke, somehow, it would always lead to her wanting to make out. It was exhausting. I remember one Sunday while I was in church, of all places, she sent me a message asking me for sex. Can you imagine? I was so confused. I straight up told her I wasn't interested in that with her. But guess what? She kept pushing. Even after I said no, she wouldn't give up. I just thank God she didn't have my address. I am pretty sure that she would have shown up at my door. Honestly, I had to cut that off quickly. I didn't want any part of that madness. And the only reason why I accepted her in the first place was because Fela told me she works at the library. I did not know the library was a name of a club. Jesus, Fela is a madman. So yeah, it's been quite the ride. Each of these women brought something unique into my life, whether it was laughter, lesson, or memories. Did I find the one this year? No, but every experience has brought me closer to understanding what I want, and most importantly, what I don't want. Looking back, 2024 was clearly not my year for love. Every experience taught me something new, mostly about what I don't want in a relationship. But hey, that's life, right? You meet people, you laugh, you cry, sometimes out of frustration, and you move on. If nothing else, now these stories have given me plenty of materials for this podcast, and for that, I am grateful. Remember, I said I only liked 8 of them. I'll allow you figure out the ones I liked and the ones I didn't like that. As the year wraps up, one thing remains clear. I am still single, but who knows? Maybe 2025 will be the year I finally find the one off my list. Until then, I'll keep sharing these wild stories, hoping you enjoy them as much as I enjoy telling them. So to all my checkmates out there, thank you. Thank you for sticking with me through this roller coaster of a year. Let's step into 2025 with hope, humor, and maybe, just maybe, a little bit of love. Alright, and that's the end of this week's episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, then don't forget to subscribe and share this podcast with those who are single, dating, or married. Rate the podcast and drop a comment. And yes, you can donate to support the podcast. $3 will go a long way. TGIF2 is coming this Friday. You know how we celebrate it now. So make sure you don't miss it for anything. Let's go, guys. By the way, I'm still on tour. Yeah, but don't worry, I got you. If you have a story to share, then please send it through my email address, edgar@checkedgar.com. For a quicker response, you can chat me with the chat box on my website, www.checkedgar.com. I promise, I'll respond in 3 hours. I promise. Edgar doesn't lie. Now remember that the podcast ends the day I get married, so don't forget to tell that your beautiful friend that Edgar is single and he would love to go on a date with her. If that lady is you, please send a message to my email address at edgar@checkedgar.com. Edgar doesn't lie. Check Edgar out. Until next week, stay amazing, guys. Stay hopeful and stay tuned. Edgar doesn't lie. Let's go.